Hello everyone, and welcome to Autocrat. This is episode 25, Bellerophon. We're back this week on a tangent from the current Heracles team, and we thought we would tell you all about Bellerophon. We'll be back next week with a new episode of Heracles.
Yes, the Lernaean Hydra, I believe, which I found very difficult to spell when drafting the thumbnails.
Exactly. So anyway, today is all about the story of Pegasus and Bellerophon.
Exactly. One fun fact to get out of the way is that Bellerophon does not just show up in the Greek mythological sources. He's also present way later in the sack of Constantinople in 1204.
Yes?
Not literally, of course. That would have been a brilliant twist to the siege. No, he is in Nicetas Choniates' source, O City of Byzantium. So after the sack of Constantinople and the enthronement of Baldwin I as Emperor of the new Latin Empire, which we really will not get into because that's in I don't know how many episodes' time, the Crusaders start toppling statues and charms, essentially, which were meant to protect the city. And this tells me that these charms really have not worked if the Crusaders are in the walls. Now, they find a statue of a horse with a man on it, however, they're not sure who it is. And one of the contenders for the identity of this mystery horseman is Bellerophon, called Bellerophontes in the text, and the horse he's sitting on is therefore Pegasus. One little detail thrown up by this story is that apparently Bellerophon was from the Peloponnese, which is a region I believe we've discussed a few times on the podcast so far.
We have.
And another detail again, Pegasus did not have a bridle and can fly just as easily as he can run. So that's just a fun account of Bellerophon showing up over 1,000 years after he really should have stopped being mentioned. Anyway, back to the main story, as started off by Apollodorus. Now, do you remember Sisyphus?
The son of Aeolus, we mentioned in episode 15, I believe?
Yes, the descendant of Helen and therefore of Deucalion and Prometheus. Well, we're talking about his descendants today.
Nice.
Sisyphus married Merope, a daughter of Atlas and one of the Pleiades. Again, the Pleiades, we've discussed them before, full of throwbacks in the start of today's episode. Their son was an individual called Glaucus, and Glaucus was in turn the father of Bellerophon, so Bellerophon is the grandchild of Sisyphus. The temptation is to get sidetracked by talking about Sisyphus, incidentally, but I'm going to stay on topic. We are going to ignore him for now.
Are we?
Yes, I'm going to do my best.
Good luck.
Anyway, thank you. Anyway, the Homeric hymns say that Bellerophon's father is actually Poseidon, but that the child was born in Glaucus' house. Basically, the wife appears to have cheated on her husband with Poseidon, which really stings given that the child is then born in Glaucus' house.
Well, in any case, he is born.
Yes, he's born, he is definitely the child of his mother. Accounts differ as to who exactly his father is. Now, as we've seen with Heracles, Bellerophon is not this character's original name.
It's not?
No, apparently it's Hipponous, or Hipponous, I don't know, spelled Hipponous, and this apparently refers to his first teaching people to tame horses with bridles.
Okay.
Hello everyone, just a quick interruption from the editing bunker in the Autocrat Fortress. I thought we were going to come back to this story later in the episode, but then we never did. The reason Bellerophon is called Bellerophon and not Hipponous is that he kills a king or subject of Corinth called Belleros. His Wikipedia tells me that this happened while he was training in throwing knives and that he was packed away to Lycia after this. Long story short, later in the episode we get to the idea that he was banished to Lycia after killing his brother. Well, this Corinthian called Belleros might be another candidate for who exactly his victim was. Anyway, that's just a quick bit of context and filling in some gaps. Now, back to the main episode over in the broadcasting tower. Now, the main story of Bellerophon starts with him killing his brother, so as with Heracles, we open on a needless death. The death of his brother came while they were on a hunt. And he ran away because he was horrified. As we said, it's an accident, and he's afraid of what will happen to him. Presumably Argos, where he runs to, has a non-extradition treaty with Corinth. He underwent purification after travelling to someone called Proetus. Now, we've met Proetus before. This was the king of Argos and the brother of Acrisius, who we mentioned as Perseus' grandfather in episode 17. So he runs away to Perseus' granduncle. Now, Proetus' wife, Antea, also called Stheneboa, fell head over heels for Bellerophon, and he rejected her because of his honesty. Now, what do you think Antea did?
She accused him of propositioning her to Proetus, who fell for it.
Yes, exactly. She goes up to Proetus and invents a story that Bellerophon has made undue advances towards her, and Proetus falls for it hook, line, and sinker. Antaeus asked her husband to kill Bellerophon for this supposed crime. He therefore gave Bellerophon a letter to take to someone called Iobates, telling him to kill Bellerophon. All well and good, but who exactly is Iobates? Well, he is the father of Antea, and king of somewhere called Lycia.
Ooh.
Bellerophon shows up in Lycia and initially forgets to give Iobates the note, and Iobates just doesn't ask why he's there, he just welcomes him in. They feasted for 9 days straight, but on day number 10 the party's over because Iobates somehow got hold of the letter.
Must have seen the paper laying in the corridor, be like, what's that? And be like, oh!
Maybe Bellerophon was just wasted in the middle of the corridor and the letter was just halfway across the room. Either way, he didn't particularly want to kill him.
Yeah, he must have been enjoying his company.
Yeah. I mean, you get to know someone, you bond with them, you don't usually kill them on the 10th day they stay in your house. Therefore, Iobates ordered him to kill the Chimera, which kind of sounds like Perseus being ordered just to go kill the Gorgon to get himself killed back in episode 17. This creature had been harassing the lands it occupied.
It seems to be a current thing, creatures attacking land, like the lion from the Heracles episode, Perseus having to kill the Gorgon. There's really a creature annoying land.
Yeah, I seem to remember, but I'm not sure about this, that Greek mythology is sort of divided at this point into something called the Age of Heroes, where people just go around cleaning up the world, essentially.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. Either way, in terms of the Chimera's lineage, Hesiod is of the opinion that it descended from Typhon and Echidna, which is the version we went with, but there is the alternative version that it was just bred by someone. It seems surprising to me if they did manage to breed it, because it is a creature with the front end of a lion, the tail of a dragon, and a middle head, which is that of a goat and breathes fire.
Nice.
I'm not sure how you end up with this if you're just breeding farmyard animals.
I bet Iobates believed that it was dangerous enough, it would kill Bellerophon.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a dragon-lion-goat hybrid that breathed fire in the middle of my kingdom, I'd have a big sign that said, "Stay away."
So how did he go there?
Well, Bellerophon rode on Pegasus to deal with the beast. We should introduce exactly who Pegasus is and how Bellerophon came to be associated with him.
I was just going to ask, how did he get a hold of Pegasus?
Yeah, well, starting off with his identity, Pegasus is the son of Medusa and Poseidon, as we introduced in the Perseus episode.
So could be his brother.
Yeah, could be his half-brother. And if you remember, he sprang from Medusa's neck when her head was cut off.
Yeah.
Pindar says that Bellerophon tried to get hold of Pegasus many times, but eventually Athena appeared to him in a dream and gave him reins made of gold with which to tame him. He brought everything to a wise man called Polydius, who told him, "Do as Athena says."
Yeah, just do as Athena says.
Yeah.
That's a wise comment.
Yeah, don't question the golden reins you've just been given in a dream. Alternatively, Bellerophon was initially afraid of his task, because, well, killing this chimera is a pretty daunting endeavour, but then Athena just appeared to him and gave him the bridle of gold with which to capture the Pegasus. So either it's a dream or Athena just appears in front of him.
So I'm guessing Pegasus is this beautiful, white, very fast horse that we all know with wings.
Yeah. However, Bellerophon knew that every now and then Pegasus came to drink at somewhere called Hippocrene. Pegasus had created a fountain here with his hoof while flying, or else it came from the first place his hooves touched the land. Either way, there's a fountain, and he shows up there. Pegasus also sometimes frequents Pyrene in Corinth. Now, Bellerophon waited in the bushes, leapt on his back when he showed up, and forced the bridle onto him when Pegasus flew up. I mean, it's a pretty natural reaction for this horse to start, but this one has wings.
Probably went flying up.
Yeah, reared up into the sky.
So, are there any alternative version of this event?
Yes, as so often happens. The Homeric Hymns volume, compiled by Evelyn White, says that when he started travelling, his father Poseidon donated Pegasus to him to ride.
Meaning, here, have your half-brother.
Yeah, here, have your half-brother / step half-brother, I'm not sure what the relationship is the other way around, but whatever version you believe, Pegasus and Bellerophon are now a team. Pegasus would supposedly never tire and carried Bellerophon everywhere and is portrayed as moving like a storm. Bellerophon and Pegasus now have the Chimera in their sights. Bellerophon fired on it from high up and killed it. So that's done.
That was easy.
Yeah, that was very easy. Iobates then told him to deal with a people called the Solimai, which, again, dealt with that no problem.
Is he doing some kind of task list like Heracles?
I guess so. I like to imagine that it's just one at a time, with Iobates thinking, are you still not dead? Fine, have another really dangerous job to do. The third of these tasks was to fight the Amazons, which the Amazons are pretty intimidating. You'd feel like that would be a problem, but as far as I've made out in the text, no, he just does it. So that's done. Check that one off. His fourth problem was that Iobates picked out the bravest Lycians and told them to surprise Bellerophon and kill him.
And this time it worked. He died.
Yes, Bellerophon is dead. End of the episode. No, of course not. He survived. Not a problem. Iobates eventually gave up, admiring how far Bellerophon had come, and showed him the letter written by Proitus. The fact that Bellerophon had kept getting away with it led Iobates to the conclusion that he had divine protection. I find it surprising that Bellerophon hasn't realised something is up before this point, if this is the first time he's learning about this assassination attempt.
I mean, he could have just thought, oh, maybe that guy thinks I'm so cool and he's just giving me funny little tasks to deal with.
Yeah, either that or he's thinking, what is Iobates' problem? I just want a rest. Iobates also married Bellerophon to his daughter Philonoe and bequeathed his kingdom to Bellerophon after he died, which seems a pretty complete way of giving up. Bellerophon now has children, and his daughter Laodamia is apparently an alternative mother for Sarpedon, who we introduced as a son of Zeus and Europa, and a brother of King Minos. His sons were Hippolochus and Isander. His son Isander would die at the hand of Ares, the god of war, when fighting the Solimai, and Laodamia would apparently die to Artemis. However, Hippolochus is a change of pace in that I don't have just a death by a deity to introduce here, but he was instead the father of Glaucus, who is a character in the Iliad in the Trojan War. Now, there is an alternative story, if we jump back a bit, for how exactly Bellerophon got to this point, with tensions cooling a bit between him and Iobates.
Sure.
This version comes to us courtesy of Plutarch's Virtues of Women.
Iobates didn't treat Bellerophon fairly after his tasks were done.
Yeah.
He walked out into the ocean. He offered up a prayer to Poseidon that Iobates' land would become dead and not yield anything. He travelled back inland and the water followed him in a wave.
Okay.
A non-mythical explanation is that he broke through a ridge which held the water back from the plain.
Okay.
The people, as you can imagine, were afraid.
Yeah, I mean, Bellerophon is coming at them with a wall of water. That would be pretty scary.
The menfolk of the city tried to persuade him to make the water go back down, however, he wasn't moved, basically saying, deal with it.
Yeah.
The women then rushed out the city. Their clothes were pulled up, because probably they didn't want to get them wet, but the text doesn't really say, and they ran towards Bellerophon. He was ashamed at the sight, and so he backed off.
Okay, that's one way of dealing with the problem.
I guess. As he travelled away, the water abated as well. In the non-mythical version, the women calm him down, which I believe means he undoes his damage.
Okay, now I think there's an alternative version for how exactly Poseidon does the damage as well, in that he might just have turned the whole ground into a salt flat until Bellerophon prayed to him to undo his work after the women of the city won him round. Basically, there's a lot of versions for what happened. There's another one to do with mountain shadows that we're skipping entirely because it's not really that relevant. Anyway, because of all this, apparently surnames in that region became matrilineally inherited, which is a fun little detail.
It is.
Anyway, we've had the high point of Bellerophon's career now, right? You think he's doing pretty well at this point?
Yes, I'm guessing we need to see him fall.
Yes, let's see him throw all of that away. Bellerophon could have settled down and had a quiet life in the style of Perseus. However, he listened to those flattering him and decided that he was as good as the gods. That already should be a red flag.
Egocentric much.
He accordingly flew up to Olympus on Pegasus to add himself to the gods, and he might in fact have done so if Zeus hadn't sent a gadfly to sting the horse. The gods loathed Bellerophon because of his unrestrained ambition. Now, Pegasus does what you would expect any horse to do when it's stung like that, and it rears up and throws Bellerophon off. May I remind you, they are in mid-air at this point.
Yeah.
Pindar mentions that, after bucking Bellerophon, Pegasus was taken into the stables on Olympus, so that's nice. An alternative version says that Zeus made Bellerophon mad while flying up to Olympus and he fell to the ground, but either way, Bellerophon is not on Pegasus' back anymore.
I love how he defeated all those really hard enemies and scary stuff, and then he just, falls.
Yeah, you know the saying pride comes before a fall? Yeah, well, Bellerophon decided to take that very literally. Either way, Bellerophon is now falling toward the ground. For a bit of context, the real-world Mount Olympus is almost 3 kilometers tall. This is nowhere near as bad as its counterpart on Mars, Olympus Mons admittedly, which is 21.1 miles or 22.5 kilometers. However, the point still stands, this is a fall that should definitely kill you. Anyone else, in fact, would have died, but Bellerophon just became blind from falling.
Really? He's not dead yet?
No, he's still not dead. Somehow he has survived. He was blind until he died, but his old friend Pegasus was turned into a constellation, maybe after he did years of faithful service as a horse for the gods, who knows. Bellerophon, by contrast, lived out the rest of his life shunned on the plains. Guebra says that the ending of the story is him just wandering around by feeling his way, remembering the days when he gazed down at the world from the heights on Pegasus' back.
Nice.
So with that abject ending, that is the story of Bellerophon. What did you think?
I like it. It wasn't what I expected.
No, it's a very different ending to the rather happy end Perseus gets, but I suppose he learns to just settle down and take the wins when he gets them.
At least the horse is fine.
Yeah, the horse is fine. That's the main takeaway for this episode.
It is.
Pegasus is okay.
Pegasus is okay, guys.
Yeah. With Bellerophon done, as we said at the start, next time we'll go back to Heracles in the form of the Linnaean Hydra. We're not entirely sure yet, but we believe the format will be one episode on a Heracles task, then a tangent episode on something in Greek mythology, and then back to Heracles the next time.
Exactly, and do keep your eyes open as we have some collaboration coming up in the next few weeks or so.
Yeah? It all depends how fast we can edit them.
It does. Have a listen to our other episode, have a look on our website, our social media, and have a great week, everyone.
Yeah, have a great week.
So, what did you think of this episode?
I liked it.
I stole your line.
Yeah, you did. I don't know what to say now. I liked it. I mean, the story of Bellerophon is very different in terms of its ending than you would expect, and the random